Alright, slow down, hold on. So where's the arrow? Now I lost my stick. There's a little arrow that says end string. Yes. There you go.
Not good.
It wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't squatting the whole time. That might be a little bit different. Yes. No. Can you hear me talking? It's coming through on the camera.
Okay, if we can get everybody back in here and get started, let's have that 1971 baseball team come on up here and stand in behind the podium, facing the audience.
All right. Whoa, wait.
You're wanted up here. Okay, again, if you can have everybody be seated, we'll get started with the program tonight. This is the 1971 Janesville baseball team, runner-up in the district. They beat the #1 team in the state, Owatonna, in order to get there. I'd like to introduce these people. Several couldn't make it today. As I call your name out, just raise your hand up so that people can identify you and whatever. Mark Barron couldn't be here today, but Bob Sarda is here. Dave Gibble, Mike Billie was on vacation, can't make it. Gary Grebner is here. Randy Haynes, Bill Johnson couldn't make it. Stewie Johnson, though, he's here. Larry Kruger, Bruce Manthe, Bob Steinberg, Gary Seiss, Gary Svoboda, and Rick Walter are not here. Jake Zimmerman, where you at, Jake? Jake, you gotta come up here. Greg Zimmerman was on this team. Greg is deceased. Greg was in a car accident many years ago. But his son Jake is here, and he's way better looking. The managers on this team was Ralph Peterson, Larry Sexton, and Larry Wasman. They could not make it. The two coaches, head coaches, Larry Milo, and assistant coaches, Dave Duren. Give this 71 team a big hand. The acceptance speech will be done by the starting pitcher, Stewie Johnson.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank the Society for the Hall of Fame for selecting our baseball team as one of the best baseball teams I had the opportunity to coach. And thank you for taking that on. And again, thank you for Brent, who was a pitching coach, and also thank you to my children and my wife for putting up with me when I'm gone all the time, and come home laundry sometimes, and things like that. And I think the guys heard that I was going to pick somebody to speak, and so my phone kept ringing and ringing and ringing, and everybody wanted to talk. So I ended up drawing the name, and you're right. I ended up picking, drawing one of our pitchers, Stewie Johnson. So, Stewart.
I just want to thank all the teammates that are here. So good to see everybody. Really is. We had a magical season. Beating a lot of good teams. Our nemesis, New Richmond. Our nemesis, New Richmond. I'll say it later. We did well in the conference. New Richmond beat us twice, 1-0 for us to finish second. We did have this thing with Morristown. And I don't know if anyone remembers having to play Morristown, but they're always real scrappy, and we did a lot of this in the dugout, But we gave it back to them. Well, there was a game we always played double headers, and I was pitching one of the games, and I was, believe it or not, uncharacteristically wild that day. And what the third inning, I hit two guys in a row, and so the dugout got a little excited. So they started on me pretty good, and my rabbit ears were all pretty good by that point. And one of them yelled over at me, "How many more are you going to hit?" And I very calmly, the way I was at the time, very calmly said, "When are you up?" Bill Johnson came over from third. Drew came over from first and said, "You better calm down." And so then I looked over, and here comes Milo from the dugout, and his face was real red. And he comes out and said 4 words to me: "Shut up and pitch." And so the thing I think most people don't know is that it was a one-class system. Well, the guys that played at that time, it was a one-class system. So we had to beat all the big guys. And in order to play the big guys, there was a 16 sub-district. So we had to win 3 games in the sub-district and to get the district to even play overtime. So we beat Claremont, and then we beat our nemesis Morristown, and we got back at New Richmond and beat them to get to the district semifinals. And I remember Coach Milo had such faith that we were going to win this game that he made reservations for vacation to leave the next day, even though we were going to play 3 days later. So he's always worried about his deposit. You know, I'll worry about losing his deposit. But we pulled off a monumental upset that day and beat them 3-1. And where's that ball? Where's that ball? So we get the ball that Steinberg made the final catch for that out, and we're going to give it to the Hall of Fame to put in the trophy case. And we all signed it. So, just to have the ball is amazing. I didn't even know he had it until tonight. He's been hiding it. Yep, and then we went on to lose to Faribault. And Otana was not ranked number 1, and Faribault was ranked number 3 in the state. We ended up losing to Faribault, who went on to finish second in the state to Bloomington Jefferson. So this is the kind of competition we would have had to beat to get there. But I think we made a pretty good showing. And we also have something else for Coach Milo. I bought a new baseball that all of our players signed, and I want to give it to Coach Milo. So I guess that's all I've got. I think my time is up, and congrats to all the rest of the inductees and my brother Brad.
The 86 football team can head up.
Nice job, Stu.
Okay, the second team being inducted into the 2021 JV Hall of Fame is the 1986 Golden Bears football team. They peaked at just the right time. After going 4-4 in the regular season, they raced through the section, winning 3 games to the state tournament. So I'm going to read off the members, and those of you that are here, raise your hand and acknowledge yourself. Chris Anderson, Tim Bartle, Brad Carlson, Wayne Cords, Mark Dashner, Rick Dowd, Ron Dowd, Rob Donahue, Brent Erdman, Paul Finley, Jason Fralick, Dan Gardner, Jason Gertz, Russ Cousy, Brian Johnson, Jeff Johnson, Scott Kennedy, Mark Heiner, Lee Lampier, Shane Loman, Dan Lundquist, Jeff Madigan, Jim Malinowski, Mike Nimchek, Terry Platt, John Ramos, Dale Stott, Jim Schmidt, Joe Schrader, Joe Shook, Blaine Strauss, Tom Thiessen, Laurie Lee Bush, Travis Wilson, Rob Wisty, and Ron Wolfe. The cheer team, Rita Wilkening, Brenda Heisel, Callie Eustace, Rita Wright, Sue Lundquist, Lisa Miller, and Sarah Tootie. Coaches or head coach George Tooby, assistant coach Gary Von Holtum, Mike Nimchek, and Tully Wallenberg. Please welcome into the Billie Hall of Fame class of 2021, the 1986 Golden Bear football team. Speaking on behalf of the team is quarterback Travis Wilson.
I too have aged. Okay, all right. I've also been reliably informed that my high school speech teacher is nearby, so this speech is probably going to be graded, so wish me luck. I was looking for a word that described what this team was. And I don't think there is one specific word that really truly describes our football team. It's rather a combination of three. I think that we were extraordinarily athletic, we were very confident, and we were tough. To say that we were athletic is an understatement. We had all-state wrestlers on the team. We had an all-state track and field athlete on the team. We had a conference basketball scoring champion. We had all-conference athletes from just about every sport on our football team. We were incredibly athletic. But we also had teammates whose talent wasn't evident necessarily by their size or their speed, but by the way they punched above their weight with their other attributes. And as I remember, our entire offensive line was basically on the National Honor Society. So when your starting center weighs about 155 pounds, you better be smart. We had underclassmen and non-starters who worked their tails off, sacrificed in practice, and on special teams to make everyone around them better. They worked really hard. As you can imagine, all of this talent breeds confidence. Even with a 1-3 start to the season, we really kind of behaved and conducted ourselves as if we were undefeated. There's simply no panic in this group. People talk about quiet confidence. I don't know if something like this exists, but we were loudly confident. We were just be fine. Everything was just be fine. We were talented and confident, but we were also tough. Anybody in the Janesville High School district who understood my class understood that the classes below us had to be tough. To say that my class was boisterous and high-spirited is a gross mischaracterized understatement. For what our class really was. I think that we spoiled just about every field trip and privilege for the classes below us. So our underclassmen were tough. We also had to be tough because our coaches wouldn't have it any other way. Which brings me to the coaches. Talked about team attributes, but football is a coaching-driven sport. You can have all the talent in the world, but without superb coaching, you'll achieve nothing. Coach We Bush was instrumental in teaching us the fundamentals of the game. We learned how left was odd, line calls, gap responsibilities, and other important concepts he taught us. We learned how to be football players. We learned how to speak the football language underneath the coach. Coaches Von Holton and Nimchek. When I discussed toughness a moment ago, these two men were front and center in my mind. He taught us that there was no time for whining or excuses in football. Get better. Train harder. Be tougher. Be tougher mentally. Be tougher physically. Every team needs a leader. And I feel like we have the best leader out there. You can be loaded with talent, have great assistant coaches, someone needs to be out front. Someone needs to create the conditions necessary for the team to succeed. We had a superb leader in Coach. He created that vision. He set the expectations, and then he held us to those expectations. We planned to work and work the plan, as we used to say in the military. All along the way, he demonstrated a superb work ethic and treated us with respect. In the process, you earn the respect and admiration of every single one of the football players who played for you. You learn life lessons from it. We had a great collection of players. And we had a hell of a fun time. So, thanks. Great job, Travis. I got my notes up here and you cried on them. I can't read them. The 1986 women's 4x200 track team, would they please come up? These girls placed 6th in the state in 1986. It was fast times at Gainesville at that time for these girls. They were very, very good athletes and great tracksuits. With us tonight we have Stacy Middlestead Fleming, Christy Rock, Julie Steppen, Flashcamp, and Sarah Strong-Terrell. Give them a hand, please. Christy and Julie just were outside just a moment ago, and they ran a race. The loser had to speak. I'm not sure which one will go, but take it away.
The shyest one of the group is going to do this. I'm going to take team with Julie. Well, good evening, everyone. On behalf of Sarah and Stacy, Julie and I would like to thank the JWT Athletic Hall of Fame for selecting us to receive this award. We are humbled and grateful for this recognition. We can hardly believe that it has been 35 years since our relay ran at the state track and field meet at Osseo High School. We clearly don't look like we've aged a bit. Or maybe it's just that we got better with age. I think that everyone will agree our hair is better. We would like to thank and recognize a few people tonight. First and foremost, we would like to thank Mr. Stoll for being our coach. And I'm sorry that he's not here with us tonight, because he should really be here to share this celebration with us. He deserves a lot of props for putting up with us during our high school years. We know girls can be challenging to coach, to say the least. He always seemed to know the right thing to say to motivate us, or calm us down before the race when we walked over to him crying, saying we couldn't do it. He cared about all of us, and he appreciated all of us for each of our talents that we brought to the team. We also want to thank our families, who were our biggest supporters. They endured many track meets in the rain, sleet, snow, and wind each season. We can remember a few particularly brutal weather meets in Medford, where the sleet was coming down sideways. And I know my parents will attest to that. They seem to remember some of the meets more vividly than even I do myself. I blocked those out of my memory. Thankfully, the beautiful days outnumbered the bad. We also want to thank our teammates, some of you who are here with us tonight. You all helped make track the most fun sport that we played. I'm going to hand it off to you, she has a few words to add here. I'm going to speak from someone told me, what comes from the heart comes from the heart. So last night when we came down, I brought my daughter down to the game, and
there was no place to park. We parked on the street, past two parking lots up, and as we got in there, and the kids are playing over here, and the community of a smaller town is just something that was really foreign to her, and something that I forgot, but really touching. You had all ages and all people, and everybody supporting the players and the community. So that was amazing. And then, as I was thinking, I wanted to say, last night seeing Deanne, did I say that right, Deanne? Yep. Okay, and Ruth, and I just said, thank you guys for, paving the way for us. And, people that I remember, my aunt, she was, what I remember, a fantastic athlete, and Terry Witt, then there was Mona Sarda, and Kathy Gardner, and Susan, and Tammy Sens, and Adair. And as little kids, and we looked up and we watched these ladies, perform and, play, and kind of gave us whatever, just, when you see people do it, you can do it yourself. And, I just wanted to thank, all the people that came before us, and then, then Jill came after us. So it just kind of worked like that. And then I just remember the support in the school, and we had to see Pat Smith here tonight, and Mr. We Bush, and Mike Nimchek, and I know I'm going to forget something, Mr. Chuby, and Mr. Milo, and we had these people as our teachers and our coaches, and just kind of watching us and pointing us in the path, as they did all of the student athletes, and especially the girls who I felt, kind of needed that along the way as we looked 40 years ago, and we looked to the future, and just so much has changed. And with that,
we also want to recognize a few people that are not here with us tonight. First, we want to recognize Julie's mom, Portia, and Sarah's parents, George and Elaine, and her sister, Susan. They were among our biggest fans. Portia was by far the loudest cheerer of all our parents. I can vividly recall her, we have a video, actually, I wish we could have shown it here tonight, of us running at the state track meet, and you can hear Portia cheering so loud in the background. It's something that makes that video pretty special. We wish they could all be here with us tonight. Second, we'd like to recognize Cliff Gardner. Cliff was our team's unofficial photographer. He was never far from the starting line or the finish line with his camera, even after his own children graduated. His photos created forever memories for us to cherish and share with our own kids. Our kids especially enjoy looking at them and laughing about our big baby's hair. We know he would love this celebration as much as us. Finally, we'd like to recognize Laurie Lee Bush. She served as our assistant track coach when we were juniors and seniors. She became a friend and a role model. She motivated many of us to keep running well beyond our final track meet, and she even inspired some of us to become coaches ourselves. We want her family to know that she left an impression on us that she has not been forgotten. Before we leave the podium, we would like everyone to raise a glass with us. To all of our family members and friends who aren't able to be here with us tonight for this wonderful celebration, cheers to the support that they gave to us and to the memories they helped us create. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
All right, now we get down to the individuals here tonight. Our first inductee was a 16-time letter winner. 1970 grad. He lettered 4 times in football, 4 times in basketball, 4 times in track, 4 times in baseball. He was all conference and all area, all 4 sports. He captained the baseball team his senior year, and he still holds the record in the hurdles for Gainesville and JWP. The little asterisk is next year they went to Metro. Please welcome into the JWP Athletic Hall of Fame Listeners inductee for 2021, Doug Barron.
As usual, I'm just going to wing it. I didn't write nothing down. I'd like to thank the committee. It's a great honor. But it wasn't hard for me to get ready to play sports. It's something I loved all my life. I got a chance to watch some of the great athletes in Gainesville. Jim Tetzlaw, Ray Finney Wolfe, Dick and Gary Arnold, Kurt Green. We can go on here. And that's who I wanted to be like. I didn't want to be just them. I wanted to be better. And it was something every day I just couldn't wait to do. And I was really fortunate to have some of the best coaches that I've ever could go. We had Bob Steinberg, Deanne Lee Bush, Dave Duran, Larry Milo, all of the ones that were really helping with us. I've got a grandson that was running track this year. And when Bob Steinberg was my track coach, right now, there's things that he taught me that they're not even getting taught right now. He was that far ahead and that fantastic of a track coach. Deanne Lee Bush not only taught me how to win, but he taught me how to be a young man. And I'm forever grateful for you, Dean, and we'll always be friends.
Our next inductee was known as Mr. Basketball during his playing days. Ron Bloom led the 1954 Waldorf basketball team to and through the districts before unfortunately missing the championship game due to an emergency appendectomy surgery. He was a 4-year letter winner in football, basketball, and baseball. He went on to drive bus for 48 years and served as a custodian in the Waldorf Pemberton and JWP for 33 years, until his retirement in 1994. Please welcome into the JWP Hall of Fame class of 2021, Ron Bloom. Accepting the award for Ron is Bob Whitman.
Well, none of you know me because I'm an outlaw. I was one of Ron's son-in-laws, and we lost Ron in 2011. Excuse me. Ron wasn't one who wanted to draw much attention to himself. He wanted to do all his work behind the scenes, hence being a janitor and being a volunteer firefighter and being part of the National Guard. If Ron were here tonight, he would have said, you know, all of the sports that I participated in were team sports. And because they were team sports, it wasn't just me that should be recognized. I had teammates who were doing their part and working the plays the way that they were supposed to, so that I was able to get the recognition to be in the Hall of Fame. On behalf of Ron's family, his wife Jan, daughter Laurie, daughter Lana, and daughter Pam, I'd like to accept this award and thank you very much.
Our next award winner is one of the first women to ever win 10 letters. 4 in volleyball, 4 in basketball, 1 track, and 1 in softball. Basically, she was a pioneer in women's sports at JWP and at Janesville. She was a 3-time All-Conference in basketball. She went on to play basketball for 1 year at University of Minnesota Morris. Please welcome into her JWP Athletic Hall of Fame, the class of 2021, Deanne Walton.
Thank you to the Hall of Fame. I am truly deeply humbled by this honor. I am not here tonight because I still hold any school records. They are long past broken. Or won any championships either. Although, our junior year, we did, for the first time ever, take part of the Gopher Conference title for a girls' team, which we were pretty darn proud of. I am here because I and other young women of the era were willing, because we loved sports, to test our bodies and ourselves, to step across the societal rift of the women's movement. Let's put this in context. In 1974, the fall of my freshman year, was the first full academic year of the implementation of Title IX. It was a time when sports were widely considered to be the absolute opposite of femininity. It was a given that being physically active for girls would give you big, ugly muscles and make you sweat. Billie Jean King had just beaten Bobby Riggs previous year in the Battle of the Sexes. Sandra Day O'Connor would not be appointed to the Supreme Court until 1981. The first woman would not run in an Olympic marathon until 1984. And the WNBA was not formed until 1996. So this is the era that girls' sports began. That girls today assume they have the right to play shows how far we've really come. How blessed I have been to be a part of the beginning of that. I remember, with some embarrassment, our lack of basic skills. Yeah. It was tough. But we took on the challenge, showing the world, our parents, our peers, and the girls that would follow, what it looked like to be a female athlete at that time, when role models of female athletes were few and far between. Thank you to the women who came before, and there are a few of them here tonight, who didn't have the opportunities that we had, but made use of every opportunity they had. I'm especially thinking of the Janesville Women's Softball League that played in the summertime that welcomed us to play with them. They were rock stars. Thanks to the guys, the high school guys that pushed back on the courts, in the editorials in the school newspaper, yep, and in the classrooms. Thanks to the teachers, administrators, and the boys' coaches of the era, who knew that things were changing and used their skills and professionalism to help us all figure out how this was going to run. A special thanks to Pat Smith, who led the efforts for girls at Janesville. Now as an adult, I can better appreciate what she was willing to go through to make sure that girls in a small, rural Minnesota town got to play too. Thanks to my teammates from high school, college, intramurals, women and co-ed leagues, many of whom over the years became much, much more than just teammates. Thanks to my family. Many of you will remember Leonard and Josephine, who loved sports and loved their daughter so much that they would faithfully show up to watch games that were not yet very skillfully played because, quote, if I had a son playing on the varsity team as a freshman, I'd go to every game. Way to go, Leonard. To Harold, who always pushed me and made me prove it, and especially when he got bigger than me. To John and the kids, who put up with my need to play with my friends. To Tim, Joe, and especially to Kate, who got dragged along to a lot of tournaments throughout the years. What I learned as an athlete and a teammate has informed every part of my life. How I've parented, farmed, taught, And even now in my role as county commissioner, those lessons help inform the work. Play with all you got. Be smart. Know your role. Consider the greater good. Have fun. Again, thank you for this very special honor.
Our next inductee, Harold Cousy, graduated in 1980. He played football, basketball, baseball, and track. Captained both the football and basketball teams his senior year. In football, he was Minnesota Sportscaster, All-State Selection, and WCCO Prep Athlete, and Team MVP. The 1980 basketball team was Region 2A runner-up, with Harold playing underneath the basket. Harold was awarded the Jack Dahl Memorial Award. He went on to play football at Golden Valley Lutheran College for 2 years before being awarded a scholarship to play at the University of Montana, where he played defense and offensive tackle. Please welcome into the JWP Hall of Fame class of 2021, Harold Cousy.
Well, I want to humbly thank the committee, and this is an extraordinary honor. As my sister mentioned, I want to thank my mom. As with most young athletes, our parents are our biggest fans. I right now have hearing aids, and I was on the court or on the football field, so I need to apologize to whoever was sitting beside my mom up in the stands. My dad was a three-sport college athlete. He passed away before I really got involved in organized sports, but I need to thank probably some genetic disposition that's allowed me to be at least reach stuff on the top shelf. The sport I cherished throughout my career was football, and for that I want to thank head coach George Stewie. As a young athlete, as a young underclassman, he had faith that I could play varsity, and that in turn gave me the confidence that I could play football. Coach Mike Nipchek, who exemplified athleticism and speed, even as a coach, I knew that those were assets that I had developed if I wanted to be a good athlete. Coach Gary Von Holtum exudes strength and power, and especially in football, those are key attributes that I learned that I need to develop those if I ever wanted to be good at the sport. The late coach Bob Steinberg, his quiet demeanor and attitude that you just go do your job, you don't jump up and down, you don't beat on your chest, just go do it. And that was exemplary and enabled me to keep my head where I could maybe be most effective. There's one other person or incident. Our freshman year, you start out in conditioning, third or fourth day you start contact. So that was the first organized contact football, tackle football I ever played. You go and you warm up that day, you line up, and you have one-on-one drill called the Oklahoma drill. Two players lay head-to-head a little ways apart. One's an offense, one's defense, you get up and run into each other. And, I was there to play football. I didn't probably realistically know where I fit on the totem pole. And so I kind of wiggled my way up toward the front of the line. I was mostly upperclassmen. And jumped down on the ground. Across from me was a senior, Mike Wolfe, who was big and lean and a really good athlete. Not that I knew at the time, but I was an offense. The coach blew the whistle. I had the ball. I rolled over and got up, and Mike was already standing up, which I remember thinking, I need to pop up like that. I didn't learn how to do that. And he didn't run forward, he exploded. I don't know what's quicker than a nanosecond, I'll just say he instantly hit me and drove me backwards and drove me into the ground. And as I was hitting the ground, I realized that the contact of tackle football was a spectacular feeling. And that these pads in this helmet gave me made me invincible. And that feeling of joy and invincibility never left me throughout my college and football career, wherever I played. And for that, I need to thank those coaches and the other coaches that were at the school and other phases of my life that helped me work towards potential. And I guess I need to thank Mike Wolfe for pointing that out to me. Thank you very much, and thank you very much.
Our next inductee is a 1956 graduate of Janesville High School. He's a 12-time letter winner. 4 in football, 3 in basketball, 4 in baseball, and 1 in track. Actually, he ran on the first Janesville track team. He was a conference champion in the 800-yard run. He is an avid sportsman, played on many basketball, softball teams throughout his career after high school. Please welcome into the class of 2021 the JWB Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Kim Hemsey.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank the committee for choosing me. I really appreciate JWP for being in the Hall of Fame. Moving on, I got 2 little stories I'd like to tell you. And I was a freshman in high school. I knew everything about football. Got out there on the field, and I was sitting down. 22 people out there bashing heads. And you watching. I wasn't used to that. But anyway, it was August, hot day, and I was thirsty. So I stood up and I says, "Hey, can I go get a drink?" Nobody answered. Didn't speak loud enough. "Hey, can I go get a drink?" I got the attention of the coach. He'd come over there and he said, "Who said that?" Nobody said nothing. He said again. I said, "Who said that?" I did. He says, "Did you play football?" "Yup." "You got a helmet?" "Yup." He says, "Grab your helmet, put it on. I'm going to go back there 8-10 yards. I'm going to run 3, and if you tackle me, you can go get a drink." Huh. I'm not thirsty no more. I know I can handle him. Then I looked at him, and it was our coach, Mr. Ford. He was about 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds. I was freshman, 100 pounds, maybe 110. He looked pretty big. He goes over there, and he gets down 3-point stance. I get down 3-point stance, and he says, "Hey!" He come running, and he said, on the ground. I didn't know what happened. And he stood up, and whoa, really hot up. Wiped sweat off me. Wiped the sweat off again. Looked at my hand, it was red. I thought, come on, we don't have red sweat around here. All over my body, I was red, and my uniform was all red, and I thought I lost all the blood I had in me. So moving on, I got to be a senior. We flipped a few pages, and now I was a senior. Mr. Bolts and me, he was a teammate of mine. We're standing on the football field as seniors. I said to him, "Gene, I said, we've been here a long time. You got a lot of seconds. You got a lot of thirds. Never a 1. If you get a 1, they'd give you a football, a basketball, whatever you had." I said, "I sure could go for some of that bling." I said, "I know my wife would like to put it around the neck. She likes to take that stuff off women." Excuse me. And anyway, we started out, and I said to him, "Gene, I says, we've been here long enough now where I says, I want to win one of those. I got it. You didn't do nothing. You stood there. He says, what's the matter with you? Don't you want to win one? He looked around a little bit and he says, no. I thought, for God's sakes, you don't want to win one? And he says, no, I don't want to win one. I want to win all three. And that's what we did. We went out our senior year. We went undefeated in football. We lost one game in basketball. We went undefeated in baseball. So I thought we did pretty good. Anyway, I got some bring in my pocket if you guys want to see what that stuff looks like. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Brad Johnson. Brad graduated in 1968 after 10 letters, 3 in football, basketball, and baseball, and 1 in track. He captained the football and basketball teams his senior year and earned all conference honors the same year in football, basketball, and baseball. Brad went on to Augustana College and Mankato State University, earning his bachelor's and master's degree. Brad currently serves as the Region 1A Executive Secretary for the Minnesota State High School League after retiring from many years of teaching, coaching, and serving as athletic director. He was inducted into the Minnesota Athletic Administrators Association Hall of Fame in 2012. Please welcome into the JWP Hall of Fame class of 2021, Brad Johnson.
Thank you very much. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you to the Janesville Waldorf Pemberton School District and the Hall of Fame Committee. And congratulations to all the inductees here this evening. Doug, you really nailed it. Where is he? Janesville is my hometown. It always will be. I love school in Janesville and everything associated with it. Academics, athletics, activities, the staff, and my fellow students, the kids I grew up with. I enjoyed school so much that I continued to go to school for 4 years at Augustana, 18 years at Spring Valley, 20 years at Rushford Peterson, and during those years at Spring Valley, also grad school at Mankato State. Some say the Harvard of the Midwest. It was during those years at Spring Valley, when attending grad school, that the real Hall of Famer in our family got us all through it, my wife Bonnie. She's been a Hall of Famer for 44 years. Thank you, Bonnie. Thanks also to Michael, Elizabeth, and Evan for being here tonight. My son, daughter, and favorite son-in-law. Growing up in the late 50s and the 60s in Janesville was a wonderful experience. Sports were a part of my life and my best friends' lives. I had heroes in pro sports, Hank Aaron among them, but the real heroes were the athletes and the coaches at Janesville High School. My parents would take us to the games, home and away, before I even had a chance to play at the junior high level. One game sticks in my mind that we were at Golden Bears football at Blooming Prairie, the Blossoms, before they were the Awesome Blossoms. We won the game, and the celebration of the players and coaches afterwards was unreal. The celebration that I really recall was assistant coach Bob Steinberg and Jim Tetzloff hugging each other, running off the field to the bus that would take them home. I thought then, I hope that's me someday. Having those early heroes, and then becoming a student athlete myself, and still having many that you looked up to. Doug mentioned some of their names earlier. Helped create some great memories. Playing high school sports with those that you've known your entire life, that you grew up with, from Little League on up, was truly special for me, and I think for all here tonight. Those relationships have lasted a lifetime. When you call today your best lifelong friend, you still call him Missile. That's quite something. The people that helped me in this educational journey were my parents, Edna and Alan. Many here tonight knew them and shared friendships with them. Believe me, if you knew Edna, you knew Edna. Their support and encouragement was tremendous. Besides my folks, 5 JWP Hall of Famers played a role in setting the standard for me. I wanted to be just like them, and I still do. They were teachers, administrators, and coaches of mine. George Tooby, Larry Milo, Darwin Wagner, Bob Steinberg, and Deanne We Bush. Others like John Schultz, John Graff, Bob Vanderhoof, and many, many others were role models as well. They were all educators who put relationships first. They didn't have students for just 1 year or 1 season. They had all students who viewed them as their teachers for life. Mr. Steinberg made a call to an old friend of his in the spring of 1972 who taught Spring Valley. That friend there urged the principal to take a look at my letter of application. The rest is history. Mr. We Bush, as much as he loves to tell stories about me, had a lot of faith in me early in my baseball career. I wasn't good enough to crack the lineup as a freshman, so he had me coach third base. I was in the 9th grade. I was coaching third base. He still made the calls from the dugout, bunt, steal, hit and run, etc. But I was the one that coaching third that made the decision whether somebody should score on that single to right field or tag up or whatever. Thank God I got to play the following year all the time. Athletics and activities have been a big part of my life forever. They've done so much for me, my children, and the many students that I've had the pleasure to work with. Thank you again for this great honor tonight. The word humble was brought up earlier by someone. Truly, I'm humbled as well. In closing, I'd like to share a cheer. Back in the day when everybody had cheerleaders, and before Title IX, which turns 50 years in 2022, well deserved, I heard many times at Janesville this cheer. And again, this is with all due respect to Waldorf, to Pemberton, and to Waldorf Pemberton. And Doug will remember this, and Gary and my brother Stu. J with an A, with an N-E-S. V with an I, with an L-L-E. That's the way you spell it. Here's the way you yell it. Janesville. Thank you.
Our next inductee was a 9-time letter winner, 3 in football, 3 in basketball, and 3 in baseball. He was all-conference 2 times in each sport. He was MVP for the basketball team his junior and senior years. He attended Bethany Lutheran College and was captain of the basketball team and was also all-conference there. He's also helped coach at Janesville and Trinity Lutheran schools over the years in multiple sports. Please welcome into the 2021 JWP Athletic Hall of Fame, this year's inductee, Rich Johnson.
Can you hear me? All right. First of all, I'd like to thank the committee for allowing me to join my daughter Heather and my dad Sweet into the Hall of Fame here. Quite an honor. I also want to acknowledge my daughter Heather, who was inducted into the Mankato State Hall of Fame last night. I'd like to congratulate all the inductees, and again, quite an honor. A few people I'd like to also thank. People like Larry Kruger, who as a young kid would call me, he would need to punt in Kipp because he was going to college and playing sports. He'd call me and I'd go down the field and retrieve all his punts and kicks, and then he would take the time to throw passes to me and show me how to throw the ball and things like that. Another person I'd like to thank who's here tonight, Stewie Johnson. He too would call me when he needed to pitch before his counting games. And I will attest he was alive. Mark Barron was another one, the late Mark Barron. Spent a lot of time with him. He'd always come down, I'd go down to his house, we'd play basketball, we'd go out to Bill Burns' cabin, play Nerf baseball in the house, out in the yard, but spent a lot of time with Beats. Appreciate that. I'd also like to thank all the coaches that I played for, and some that I didn't. Coaches Von Holcomb, who was my first coach in 5th and 6th grade, wanted me to be a wrestler. Almost got me there, but that didn't work out. Coaches Nimchek, Milo, Lee Bush, Tui, Uren, and Tonoli. Thank you for teaching me how to play the game the right way. Obviously, basketball was my favorite sport. I don't know if Dave's here tonight, but Coach Tonoli and I had a love-hate relationship. I loved to shoot it. He hated it when I didn't run the offense. True story, my senior year we were playing Ellendale, and things weren't going right. Tonoli calls a timeout. We get in the huddle. And for those of you that played for Dave, know that when things don't go good, Dave goes back to the basics. So he gets us in the huddle and he says, we're going to run black. And you're not going to take a shot until there's 6 passes. Okay. So we get out. Teddy gets the ball, starts the offense, throws it to Mike Sarda. Sarda throws it to me. I'm looking for somebody else to pass it. Out of the stands I hear, get it. So I did. Starting to run down the court, but only calls the timeout. Pretty happy, you know, I went back. Don't always matter to know what happened. Get into the huddle and he says to me, he says, I thought I told you I didn't want a shot for 6 passes. I said, you did. He looks at me and says, well, why did you shoot? I said, because Bill Cummings told me to. That didn't go over good. Had a lot of good memories at Janesville. Was able to play with my brother Jeff for a couple years. That meant a lot. My favorite memory in my Janesville Golden Bear years were the 1980 basketball. There wasn't much expected from us because the year before we had a very good team, senior loaded, and so they had all graduated. So here we came, and there was a bunch of Lutherans, Guy Westfall, Kurt Trams, Harold Cousy. And by the way, Harold, if they would have held stats back in the day for double-doubles, Harold would have held the record. We get so mad at Harold, we dump the ball down, he'd be 2 feet under the basket. He'd throw up a shot, miss it, throw up a shot again, miss it. I didn't even do it the third time. Well, hell, he's got 3 rebounds and 6 points by now. Anyway, back to that 80 season. We started out the season again, we were young, inexperienced, but we started out the season with 7 straight wins. Ended up with a record of 11-13 in the conference and won the conference championship. We were seeded second in the district tournament. First game we beat Waller Pinkerton. Second game we played Welk Memorial in the semis. That game was back and forth, very good game. And the game was tied with 6 seconds left. Laurie calls my name out. He draws up a play for me. We get out of the huddle. We're walking through the court, on the court to run the play, and my brother Jeff says, I'm taking the shot. I look at him and he says, we're going to use you as a decoy, pass me the ball, I'll fake it, and I'll throw up the shot. Okay. So I pass him the ball, he fakes the pass, throws up the shot, and it's an air ball. Thank God Stewie Johnson, who was in for Guy Westlaw at the time, comes flying me in, grabs the ball in the air, catches it, throws it in the basket. We win 54-52. Next game was the district championship, which we went on to beat St. Clair 71-65 and advanced to the regions, where we played East Chain, who was ranked second in the state for most of the year. That game didn't start out too good. We fell behind 15-6, I think. And at halftime, we're down 25-12. But we never gave up. We came fighting back. We got to the fourth quarter. The game was tight back and forth. And we took the lead with about a minute left. I think we were up 36-34, and they had to foul. So they fouled me with about 15 seconds left. They called the timeout. We come out of the timeout, we go to the line. Getting ready to get off, and the refs standing there looking down. All of a sudden, I look up, and here's our JWP mascot underneath the basket with his little beer cup. And they're going, and I'm thinking, why are you trying to sync me up? You're supposed to be on Earth. So I get the ball, made the 2 free throws, and we ended up winning 38-36 and advanced to the region championship for the first time since my dad's 1959 team. That championship game, we played Wyndham, led at halftime 29-22, but we ran out of gas. Ended up in some foul trouble, and truth be told, Harold was very sick, had temperature of over 100, shouldn't have been playing. And he was our force underneath. And we ended up getting beat 59-43. But the memory of playing in that gym with all the Janesville people there was amazing. And by the way, that mascot and the little bear cup, that's my Uncle Stosh and Bill Maddox. Last, I want to thank my darling wife, my Hall of Fame wife, and my girls for allowing me to coach them and to be part of their lives in their athletics. But most of all, I want to thank my parents, Sweet and Jam. Most of you know we lost Sweet in June to cancer. But he was my brother and I's biggest fan, him and my mom. Never missed a game, always made sure that we had gloves, shoes, or whatever needed to succeed. I know right now they're upstairs looking at me, and I know they're pretty proud. Thank you, and again, thank you to the committee.
next inductee, Ben Kipp, graduated in 1992. He excelled in basketball, baseball, and football, earning 13 letters, 4 in football, 4 in basketball, and 5 in baseball. He was the Jack Dowell Memorial Award winner, along with multiple all-conference and all-area honors in all of the sports. His senior year, he broke the all-time school scoring and rebound record with 1,485 points and 1,049 rebounds. This is an especially distinct honor for me to make this introduction because as his teammate since we were kids, I was lucky enough to have a front row seat to all of Ben's accomplishments. Please welcome me into the JWP Hall of Fame class of 2021, my teammate, but more importantly, my friend, Ben Kipp.
I think the most surprising thing to me tonight is that Lance Nelson would say the word appendectomy. I mean, that's something new. First of all, thank you to the committee. This is an honor. And I'm actually amazed that everybody can remember all the scores of their games, who they played, what person was sick, the temperatures. I remember very little, quite honestly. I don't have a lot of those stories. But what I do remember is about 30 plus years ago, I actually stood right here. So my mom worked in the school, and after school I would come and shoot baskets every night. What I remembered is trying to make the last second shot. You dribble, you shoot, and one day I was going to get the glory. All the eyes were going to be on me, and I was going to be the hero. Well, now it's 30 years later, and quite honestly, I realize it's not about me anymore. It's about all the people that help us along the way, the coaches, my parents, Mom and Susan, who always supported me whatever I did. My family, who also supported me. And it was not easy coaching me, trust me. There are easy people in the world to coach. But most of all, I think what I'm most proud of is I sit here tonight and my friends and colleagues show up. My high school teammates, they have no reason to be here other than to support me. And there's, they have families, they have friends, and they chose to be with me tonight. So thank you guys, and thank you for the committee.
Our next inductee is also a 1992 grad, 9-time letter winner, 2 in volleyball, 1 in gymnastics, and 6 in track. All-conference in volleyball, multiple all-conference track, 3rd in the state in the 300 hurdles, state qualifier in gymnastics, attended UW lacrosse, was a 3-time All-American in gymnastics, and was also a member of their national championship team in 1995. Please welcome to the class of 2021, my favorite inductee, Jill Minton.
Thank you so much to the nominating committee for this honor. It really gave me an opportunity to reflect back on my athletic career, and there are quite a few thank yous that I have to start with. First of all, Dee, ditto on your speech. It couldn't have gotten any better. Julie, Sarah, Stacy, Christy, idols of mine growing up, watching all of you. It really makes me feel like I'm back in 8th grade right here. So first of all, Mom and Dad, thank you. There are not enough thank yous to go around for everything that you have done for my athletic career, the guidance, the advice, the tough love, the taxi service, the financial support, just to name a few. Thank you, and I love you for it. My big brother. Thank being the best cheering section a lady could ask for. To all of my coaches and my teammates, thank you for making me a better person. To my husband, Todd, I'm grateful that athletics brought us together. Thank you for your love, your support, and also for being an ambassador for girls and women's sports. To Nadia, your enthusiasm for sports is so awesome. I am proud of how hard you work to grow your skills and to become a better athlete. Thank you for introducing me to a new sport, and I love watching you play. And lastly, I am standing here today because I run like a girl, I throw like a girl, I flip like a girl, I spike like a girl, and I skate like a girl. And that is something to be very proud of. Thank you.
Our next inductee, Ruth Wagner Paganow, graduated in 1976. She was a 4-time letter winner, 2 each in volleyball and basketball. Her senior year, she earned all conference honors and the MVP for volleyball, as well as taking home the Outstanding Senior Women Athlete Award. Ruth continued her education at Concordia University St. Paul, graduating in 1980. During her time there, she earned 11 letters. Please welcome into the JWP Hall of Fame class of 2021, Ruth Haginatch.
Good evening. JWP Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, coaches, teaching staff, fellow athletes, family, and friends. I am truly honored to be here tonight. Not only is it an honor to be inducted into the JWP Hall of Fame, but it is a great privilege to be surrounded by such a great group of friends and fellow athletes. A question that I've been asked often in my teaching and coaching career is, why do we push kids so hard to excel in athletics? Why, when they leave their high school, they no longer are the star of the team. They're lost, don't know what to do, how to go on. A lot of kids are not fortunate enough to make it into college sports programs. How do these awards and trophies and successes help them be successful in their life? In reflecting on those questions, I had to admit I was one of those kids. I could never have my hands on a ball often enough. I played a lot of grade school ball, a lot of high school sports. I had my picture in the local newspaper often. Then I show up in town on Thursday night at the volleyball game and people are coming up to me saying, great article in the paper, and I'm saying, what are you talking about? I didn't even know that it was in there. And it goes on. It meant more to me than anything in my life at that time, participating in athletics. I loved it. I loved giving a teammate a set that led to a spike so that he could win a match. It was awesome. And it was a great feeling. I loved shooting a buzzer beater shot from the court that won the game. Or making a shoestring catch in left field that needed and required a perfect throw to the home plate for the third out to win the game. And I have goosebumps still as I stand up here because they were amazing times and amazing memories in my life. Going on, I can't begin to tell you how I've used all those lessons that I've learned participating in high school athletics. Attitude is something that affects my life every day from the time I wake up in the morning till the time I close my eyes to sleep at night. Communication, commitment, confidence, dedication, responsibility, leadership, teamwork, and respect are just a few of the attributes that are necessary to practice and to understand to be a successful and be a happy member of any teaching staff or any occupation that you choose. And certainly dealing with an upset parent or a classroom full of students requires patience and commitment. And without a doubt, in our world today, marriage requires the use of all of these qualities every day. Why encourage our children to be active athletes? Athletics teach life lessons that can be used every day in our lives when we finish our career and beyond. To all of the JWP coaches, directors, keep your athletic programs going. Keep them growing. Keep encouraging young people to participate in athletics. They will use the things that they learn all their life. There are not enough words for me to adequately express my sincere thanks to my coach, Pat Smith, who's back there, to my coaches, to my teachers. And being a teacher myself, I can attest to this. I only can hope that I'd be able to touch some young people's life the way that you have done mine. Mr. Uren took pictures at my wedding. I still have them on the wall in my house. Mr. We Bush with driver's instructors, Mr. Tootie, and many of you, other ones that are here. I don't mean to leave any of you out by any means. Thank you. My sincere thanks for how you influenced my life academically, personally, in any way possible. Thank you to the fellow athletes of mine who played ball with me, and you were part of my success as well. My success on the court, playing field, are directly attributed to all of you. I will be forever grateful for all my memories and all the life lessons that I have learned while participating in Janesville High School athletic clubs. Finally, I would like to say a sincere thank you to my husband, Clark, who was recently a second-time cancer survivor and was willing to make the trip here with me to find him. Thank you to my twin sister, who was my biggest fan, always, and to my favorite brother-in-law, Mark, who's here with me tonight, to thank you for your love and support always. And to all of the conductors, congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, this next individual lettered 11 times, 4 times in football, 2 times in basketball, and 5 times in track. He's captain of the football team his senior year, all conference both junior and senior year in football, all conference multiple times in track. Was a 1985 Jack Gull Award winner. Went on to play football at St. Cloud State. Please welcome our 2021 inductee to the Janesville Waldorf Pemberton Athletic Hall of Fame, Brent We Bush.
I had the privilege of perhaps being one of the younger athletes to come through Janesville as we was August of 1966, and we had a little dilemma in our hands. My dad, who was the head football coach, was planning 2-day football practices. My mom was 9 months pregnant. And so my dad was very adamant about the fact that he was not going to miss 2-day football practice. So we got up in the morning, went to practice, came home, my mom said it's time, went to the hospital, went to Mankato, I was delivered, and my dad was able to make it back for afternoon practice. True story. I want to thank the committee. I would also like to thank the entire community of Janesville, at my time, Janesville, Waldorf, Pemberton, for all the support throughout the years, for all the athletes that went through Janesville and Janesville, Waldorf, Pemberton. You know, the world continues to change, and one thing that doesn't change is the opportunity to work together on a team. And none of us get there by ourselves. We all get there with the encouragement of the coaches, the great coaching staffs we had, and the teammates that we play with. That continues to carry forward in the real world. I work in Minneapolis as a police officer, and so we count on our partners in the real world as well as the world continues to change. You know, Janesville is a community, and the schools, the teachers, the coaches, and their teammates, where I grew up with my family, was really, I believe, shaped me of who I am today. And I talk about growing up in an athletic family with my dad as a coach, and Corey and I were there too. She wasn't at football practice, but Corey and I used to go down and get involved real early in football practice as my dad would have practice. Corey and I would build forts with the dummies and make these forts, and then the players would all come over and wreck our forts and then use them, and then we'd have to rebuild. But that was the start of my athletic career. I moved in there to my own athletics then, contributing and playing at Janesville for the Janesville Golden Bears. Went on to St. Cloud State and contributed there for a while. Then I was able to give back to my own communities where I lived and where I worked, and coaching different youth sports of all different athletics, and then had the opportunity to coach my own children as well. So Janesville was good to me. Now Janesville, Waldorf, Pemberton. It was good to those that came before me, and it was good to those that came after. And I guarantee that Janesville, Waldorf, Pemberton will be good to those who all who come in the future. Thank you.
Just to make sure all the individuals here, we have one more individual to go yet. Don't panic here or whatever. But we have one more individual. But all the individuals, we will want a picture of you eventually back by the banner, so you can move back there after all of this is over with and so forth. But our next inductee was a 1987 grad. He was a 10-time Leonard winner, football 3, basketball 2, track 5. He was all conference and all area in football. He was captain the senior year of the football team. He was a state entry in track in the 4x400. Also, he was 7th in the high jump, so two-event person in track. He attended Bemidji State University, which is a great university. He was a 4-time Leonard winner for both indoor and outdoor track. 4-time all-conference, captain the senior year there. He was a national qualifier in the 4x400 relay team. Let's give a big welcome to our last inductee tonight. He is the newest member of the JWP Athletic Hall of Fame, Laurie Lee Bush. And my favorite Lee Bush to be inducted.
This is what it is.
So, it's Friday, yesterday morning, about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was up, I was finished up cleaning, I was scrubbing the floors, and I was just putting the last dishes in the dishwasher. And I realized that I had been speechless. Procrastinated, put it off. So I went upstairs, and my wife was sleeping for hours. And I gently woke her up, and I said, hey, I said, I hate to wake you up, but I gotta give a speech at the Hall of Fame banquet. Any ideas of what I can say? She rolled over. It was dark, but picture this now. There's a window, and moonlight's coming through. It's a beautiful face. She rolls over, and she looks at me, and she says, listen. She said, you probably weren't that good anyway. So just thank your coaches and then get out of it. So I sat on the bed for a little bit, and I went in the bathroom. And while I was in the bathroom, I realized a couple things. I realized that, well, A, I'm glad we had a bathroom in the house. B, I'm glad that we had toilet paper in the house. But I thought about what she said. I realized she was right. She goes, it's not me, it's the coaches. And I realized that no one achieves anything by themselves at some point, especially at youth athletics at the high school level. No one achieves anything without the help of others. And you may have the physical ability, the great things. But somewhere along the way, someone has to show you. They have to show you the right way, how to overcome, how to compete, how to represent. And it was my coaches when we went through the whole middle school all the way up to the high school that were able to do that for me. So for all those teachers and coaches and teammates that were there for me, and my brother mentioned the community, and it really is. It's the community of Janesville. It's not just you going out there and doing your own thing. You go down to the barber shop, and Jim Fury's talking to you about the game tonight, and it's everybody's support that really drives and makes you want to play the game. To my family, my dad, my mom, my brother, my sister, they're relentless when they get home about making sure that you're a good Christian athlete, that you know how to do things the right way, that you're a good person, and that continues today. So to my family, I also say thank you. Now, I know I'm being honored tonight for my athletic abilities, and without my mom's superior genetics, I feel that none of this would be possible, but I also want to thank, as far as the induction for track or high jumping, I want to thank Coach Kuby and my dad, my track coaches. I'm not sure either knew anything about high jumping. If you look at them, I don't think they're high jumpers anymore. Or like the Doors body. But it wasn't, I realized that it wasn't about my skill, my ability to run up to a bar and jump and manipulate my bar, or manipulate my body over a bar. It was them manipulating my mind and getting me to think positive and to overcome. And anytime they missed, it was the mental part of it that they were able to drive home and just to make sure that that's why that was such a success. So when you fast forward to, I went to Bloomberg State in the area and I high jumped, and I had a lot of success there, and went into education and became a teacher and a coach myself, and my own personal reasons, I stepped out of the classroom to pursue another dream, but I never lost the dream of working with kids and coaching. I still coach to this day. I volunteer at St. Peter. I coach track. I coach basketball. And I hope to continue that for as long as I can, because one thing I truly enjoy is watching young athletes develop. And I think a lot of coaches nowadays, and I know it's mentioned before about, I think Doug mentioned that we need to get back, coaches need to give back. Get back to like teaching things the right way, and have high expectations. So with that, I don't want to keep you longer. I was going to ask for a show of hands. Who just wanted me to pick up my flag and get out of here for the last one. I do want to thank the committee. Thank you for putting this all together. Congratulations to all the other inductees, and I hope everybody has a good night. Drive safe. God bless.
Okay, just a few thank yous. I'd like to thank Infinity Catering and the staff tonight. Great meal, great service. Ginger Peas for the program and all the other printing. The Janesville Journal, Mike Roy was here tonight. Hopefully you'll see some good things in the paper. Krista and Ryan Lipke and all the work that they do. Main Street Plaza in Pemberton, right here. Great place to have our little event at. The communities of Janesville, communities of Waldorf and Pemberton for their support of this event. Fantastic. I'd like to thank this morning's setup crew that got up here and did a great job of setting up the tables and stuff. Brent Trey, Caitlin, Jill Todd, Nadia, Jean Joyce, Marla, Dee, Dale, Boog and Khan. Thanks very much for putting things up. And again, you've been very patient with all our speeches and talks and whatever else, and I hope you had a great time tonight. These are some great athletes, some great people, and again, we're in a great community to do these kinds of things. So thank you very much for coming in. Have a great night.
Nice job, Mr. Wilson.
Thanks. I thought I would hear some